7:34 a.m. Dr. Arkanoff?
Would you like to open with the Pledge of Allegiance first?
Yeah.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Get my microphone on there. Thank you, Mr. Alexander. This morning we are conducting a hearing. It's been appropriately advertised for the pre-ratification meeting for the teacher's contract. So I'm going to turn it over to you this morning.
Thank you, Dr. Arkanoff. This morning's pre-ratification meeting has been appropriately advertised and now open this pre-ratification meeting. Dr. Taylor, I'd like to call on you to provide a brief overview of the contract.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. I will be brief, but please note that all this information is linked in the agenda today and has been posted on our website since 72 hours prior to this meeting. This is going to be a 2-year agreement with the Teacher Association, the United Teacher Association of Center Grove. It's going to run for this school year and next. This is a significant change in the way we've compensated teachers in the past. We are moving away from a model of compensation that we've had in place since 2014. And we are moving to a new 18-point model of compensation for teachers. The teachers can earn 9 points in that model for being effective or highly effective in the prior school year on their evaluation. 1 point in that model for a year of experience, which is defined as 120 plus days employed in the prior year. And then they can earn up to 4 points by possessing new content area master's degrees or credits. And those points are kind of divvied up based off how many additional degrees or credits they receive, up to 4. And then finally, another category, a new indicator for us is leadership and learning. There'll be up to 4 points possible there, and this is to honor the work that we know all of our teachers are doing as part of their commitment to our students and to our school. And this is up to 4 points possible for up to 15 voluntary hours. And this kind of spans a lot of areas of work where teachers can receive professional development outside of the workday, participate in committees, both at the building and at the corporation level, including curriculum development. They may do volunteer tutoring, coaching, or any other educational related activity to support student learning outside of the school day. They participate in activities to promote or grow our community and stakeholder relationships. And then finally, supporting their colleagues through helping with supervision of classrooms, like during prep periods or lunch or before or after school, mentoring or other assistance while a teacher might be absent. So again, that's up to 15 hours, and teachers can get those across that category. That will be also from the prior school year that will count for the future. And then finally, just kind of a catch-all, there's also if teachers are needing to do that during the school day, there's some exemptions for that. We know we have folks that have after-school activities, and so they can do that with administrative approval. For the first year of this agreement, the board has agreed to put $1.475 million into the pool of money for this point system, and so that money gets distributed out to the teachers based off how many points they've earned. This year's point value is actually going to be at $168 per point, so teachers might earn that up to 18 points. For the 2024-25 school year, we'll actually use a percentage-based allocation of the money. And so we'll calculate how much right now we believe that to be about a 1% raise would be. And again, we would divvy that out across the 18-point model. That number may change, and we have some options to reopen the contract and talk about whether or not that number needs to change, how much available revenue we have, or if we need to make some changes to our health insurance premiums next year. Those are the two areas that we would look at in the 24-25 school year. But other than that, this contract would run through the end of June of 2025. Moving on to the second page, I've just got some summary and some other things we've done in this agreement. The lowest base salary for a returning full-time teacher the lowest base salary increase for a returning teacher would be $22,352, and the highest for a returning full-time would be $3,024. And really, the fluctuation and variation there really is going to come down to the level of education or the additional credits a teacher has earned. That's what kind of changes that. There's 5 increments between those two numbers, $168 apart. This will set our new starting base salary at $47,500, which we think is very competitive with our neighboring schools. And a new top base salary, which again is very competitive, if not one of the highest of our neighboring schools, at $91,887. If I were to take all this money and kind of look at how much new money went into the collective bargaining unit as a whole, it would equate to 4.83% in an increase. So that kind of helps folks relate this to how we've given increases in the past, where this is very different. It's not a percentage increase, it's a flat amount. There's an additional provision this year. We've identified some teachers who have fallen behind over the years, and they actually have more years at Center Grove in experience than what their compensation might show. And so there's something called a teacher retention catch-up provision. This is provided through Indiana law, and we're going to apply this not just this school year, but also next year. And it kind of comes in on 5-year breaks. So at 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25 years, we will correct those teacher salaries and then apply the new increases. And so that's something that's going to impact 52 teachers this school year. And then after this school year, we'll identify the group that it would impact next school year. This agreement also includes an increase for the ECA schedule. It's going to increase by 3% this school year. And those positions are listed in the contract. And then for health insurance, we've got a very modest increase this year, but we did want to keep up with the market trend. This is less than a 1% increase for our teachers. It's honestly, I've included some dollar amounts there just to show that the corporation's going to put $88,000 in for the teacher share into the health care fund. All of the teachers combined in their increase, it's going to be $11,000. And so you can kind of see the significant dollar amount there, and how it's not significant compared to the raise that we're providing. And then just to break that down one level further, I wanted to just list the individual employee premiums. The highest plan that we have would be a family PPO premium. It's going to increase $3 per pay, and we have 24 pays a year. So you'll see no one's going to pay more than that amount in their year. And when you compare that to the lowest and highest salaries above, we believe that's a very modest increase, but it does keep that plan moving towards the reserve level, which is what we want. There was one IRS change we had to make. So if an individual hits their deductible within a family plan, that had to go up based off IRS rules. Ours was previously $3,000. It has to go up to $3,200. It also will have to go up in future years. It's one of those rules that are out there and we have to comply with. And then just always like to remind the community and our staff that we do have a very rich HSA contribution. It will remain at that rich level this year moving forward. And this really helps offset some of those costs when we talk about premiums and expenses in the medical plan. And so as much as $2,500 for a family plan in there. Finally, just a couple little language and other items that we've included in this agreement. We've added the option of a non-traditional Roth 403B, so teachers will be able to deduct that from their paycheck and send it to one of our vendors. And then finally, we're going to expand the sick leave bank. It's been limited only to be used on the actual teacher's care for themselves. And we want to expand that if they're serving as a primary caretaker for an immediate family member. We wanted to allow that. We also included some ways to fund that bank. Currently, the bank gets funded by teachers being hired. They donate one day when they're hired. And if that bank ever fell low, we'd replenish it. But moving forward, we're going to allow days from retirees to flow into the bank. We're also going to allow teachers, if they hit the annual cap, that they won't lose those days, they will flow into the bank. So we don't foresee us ever needing to do an assessment unless the bank just really gets used or we have some catastrophic issue. But that will help keep it solvent and move it forward. And I think it's a great benefit for teachers, especially those in those difficult times where they're caretaking for a family member. Tried to be brief, Mr. Alexander, but share all the details I could. And I think I'm done. Again, the board, there's no action asked today. This is just a public hearing on this. The action would be taken next Tuesday morning.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. This would be the appropriate time for members of the public to comment on the tentative agreement. Are there members of the public present who would like to comment? Seeing none. I now close this meeting. Are there any board members who have comments or questions? And again, this is a procedural first step in a two-step process. The second, the approval part of this process will take place next Tuesday morning, 7:30 a.m. on the 21st. Correct?
Yes, that's correct. No, I would just say a note of appreciation for a 2-year contract. I would really like to do that all the the time and get away from this every year, going at it. But a recognition on the union's part that this would be the best thing for their membership, and on the negotiation team's part, that this is the best way to go forward here.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Anyone else have any comments?
I just want to thank everybody that participated in the process. I know Jason, Krista, and Rich, and Scott and I were on our team. The teachers, I think, showed up in good faith to get something done this year, as we did. We worked together, and I think hammered out a positive agreement for all. So I know, Jason, there was a lot of time and effort put into changing this year, and change is hard. But I think it all, was for the better, and we got to a good place. So thank you for your leadership, and they're not here, I know they're in their classes teaching, but I want to thank the teachers that participated too for their leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Gaines. All right, there is no board action required at this time. We have an executive session this evening at 6 p.m. And then we have our vote on ratification of the contract next Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m. And then our regularly scheduled board meeting on the 28th, and we have an executive session starts at 4:30.